all the way from Washington, Redmond, Washington, with Microsoft. And I'd like to introduce you to Carol Scott. Carol, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. You're ready to start your timer? Now you can go.
Yep, I am. So yes, Microsoft is based in Washington, but I have the privilege of living in Silicon Valley, which it's very exciting time to be part of Microsoft. I do want to share a little bit about myself. So I've worked at Microsoft the last 18 months. The timing has worked great. I've worked at a previous large cloud provider and at a Big Four consulting firm. But I like to say at the end of the day, I'm a business leader that translates between tech and business outcomes. And, definitely deep in the technology, but at the end of the day, tech is here to solve problems. So today I want to take a lens looking at yourself as a business leader. I know there will be technical people, like deep technical people on here, but at the end, you need to look at what your outcomes are and what you're looking towards. And so this will really be focused on thinking about you. If you're an individual contributor, you can still be a leader. You can be a leader in knowledge, you can be a leader in ideas. This is actually a very exciting time. We're truly on the ground floor and in the early adopter stage of the curve. So the fact that you're here differentiates you. So I want you to see yourself as a leader, even if you're not managing people. If you are a business leader or an executive, definitely need to be learning and thinking about how you're going to lead in your company, asking the hard questions. And, a lot of enterprises are thinking about this as well. So this will be a nice blend between what you can do as an individual, but also thinking about it at an enterprise level. Also, I want to quickly say Microsoft just had Build, their developer conference. A lot of the slides here, all of these are public facing slides curated from there, but and other slides. And I will have a disclaimer. George said nothing was created by AI. Some of my slides towards the end on prompt engineering are created by AI, but I'm very proud of that. And we will go from there. So today I'm really focused on really, like I said, fast track your AI journey, ride the wave. I love analogies, I love pictures, and I love the idea of thinking about it as you want to be on top of it and not have the wave crashing over you. So we'll talk about some trends, leadership, and how to quickly ramp up. Also, I am on LinkedIn, and anyone from here that reaches out to me to connect, happy to connect with you. All right, so let's go to our next slide here. Oops. I'm not good. Here we go. All right. So like I said, I love analogies. I'm also the mom of 3 awesome young adults, 2 in college and 1 about to graduate. So I love using graphics around, strong women as well. And I'm an advocate for women and young women. So I created this image through DALL-E on Bing. So this is also something that I'm starting to do, is create my own images instead of using others that are out there. So talking about this new competitive battleground, it is competitive in the enterprise space, and not just competitive necessarily across companies in AI, but how are you going to position yourself as a in the industry that you're in? And I also wanted to put the nuance in here that AI accelerates an enterprise and a leader. So it's not just about the business, but you as a leader. And as I mentioned, it's not just people that manage people, but you can be a leader as an individual contributor. And the opportunity is yours to lead the AI transformation. So I quickly want to talk about, like I mentioned, focusing on the enterprise, the business, whether you're a small business, a larger business, but what is your business model? What are you thinking? What are you solving for? There is a lot going on out in AI, and sometimes you'll see a post and it's like, here's 200 new AI tools. Honestly, that makes my head spin. I try to stay really focused, even though, yes, I'm at Microsoft and we have a lot of great things going on. I do keep up with what's going on in the industry. And so I really try to focus on what my focus is. What do I need to learn? So what is your business model? And also, there's a lot of talk about security. I will talk about that in a moment. But as you're looking at this in your business and even in general, like owning your data, who controls your data? George did a great job of introducing that topic. And what I really love about what we're doing is looking at how you leverage the model, but how you still have control over your data. And again, having a framework to say, yes, I do want some to work in a trusted environment. And there has to be global security. There are requirements. Throughout the years, I've worked globally, and the security requirements in the EU are different than the US and other places. So it's important to ramp up on that. Also, industry customization. You know, you might be in an industry, but you serve different industries. So it's an exciting time to see what is coming across different industries and those case studies. And then partners. Whether you are an end user or you're looking at your enterprise, there's a lot of solutions out there. There's never been a better time to partner. And what's also exciting is you see people that might have been competing in the past, partnering in ways that have never been seen before. All right, I just quickly want to walk through the history of how we got to generative AI. And again, all of these slides are available. These are all public-facing slides, and these are for informational purposes. So just to quickly walk through this, you know, AI has been around a while. We hear that back in 1956, you know, is when, you know, the concept of this started. And then really getting to more machine learning. So looking at taking existing data, how do we improve upon that for decisions, predictive, a lot of predictive analytics started coming out in this time frame. And then in 2017, really getting into deeper learning and looking at neural networks and how to process data and really trusting AI for more decision making. And then where we are today of generative AI, I know we're in 2023, but the concept of generative AI really coming out in 2021, looking at new written, visual, and auditory content. And what's really cool is the ability to, before it was all the cool tech people and the data scientists on the back end, and we got the benefit on the front end, because all of us, if anyone's on social media, we know that there's curation and algorithms going on. But this idea of having generative AI, where we can actually start as end users engaging with it, is an awesome opportunity. Okay, I quickly want to give an overview of OpenAI. Now, I'm aware that there are other models out there. There's other you know, people out there and companies out there focused on AI today. I really want to deep dive on OpenAI and the partnership with Microsoft. So even in this process of learning about this, learned a lot myself of the last several months and want to share this with you. And we'll dive deeper into ChatGPT and GPT-3 and the differentiation in a moment. But as you know, OpenAI, they are their own business. Microsoft has not acquired them. Well, actually, they're a nonprofit, and they also have a business component. And everything on OpenAI runs on Azure. And Microsoft has a great partnership. And OpenAI is definitely integrating with other partners and other entities. But really want to dive into this a little bit deeper today. So, you know, starting with GPT-3, that's really the idea of generating and understanding text and where that started. And this is really the back end and that model that drives a lot of what's going on across OpenAI and Microsoft in this revolution. Also, Codex. So a lot of you have seen GitHub and all the amazing things that can be done on GitHub. And it's very exciting to see what's happening in the developer community. I don't think right at this point we're on track to replace developers, but this is an awesome companion. And then DALL-E, the awesome images, like that one I showed you earlier, generating images from text prompts. To be able to create your own images is just a remarkable opportunity. And then ChatGPT, which has really ended up being the conversational response. So a lot of us have played with that a little bit, and that's the ability to use natural language as you are engaging with the model, which is truly revolutionary. All right, next slide here. I really wanted to differentiate between what is GPT-3 and what is ChatGPT. And this model can be applied with, this is applicable in a lot of different models, but just want you to be clear on the difference between the model and then how we engage with the model. So if you look at ChatGPT, it does give you human-like responses, contextual awareness, and it is trained on a large data model. Now, GPT-3 right now is available through chat.openai.com and also through bing.com, and it is enabled through different plugins. But that is truly the opportunity where you get to engage with the model itself on ChatGPT. On GPT-3, this is the model. Right now, the data is through 2021, and GPT-4, which is available through Bing, goes through more current 2023. But the idea of a model is this foundation that you engage with it through APIs, and we'll go through that a little deeper in just a moment. But you're implementing information in search, but ChatGPT is really the back end. ChatGPT is the front end, where you can build chatbots, or you can engage directly and ask, get ideas, content creation. So when you understand the difference between GPT-3 and 4, which is the model and really the engine, and then you're looking at ChatGPT that drives the front end. All right, so quickly want to talk about security. I know that's a hot topic. Different companies with different language models have different security practices, but this was talked about quite a bit at Build, and I just want to share this today, especially as we go a little bit deeper here. So, when you're working with OpenAI and Microsoft, your data is your data. Microsoft and OpenAI are not training their data on anything that you're putting in there in a public way. I will talk about how behind a firewall and with security, we are able to blend that. But just to be clear, Microsoft, your data is your data. We're not fine-tuning the original models on any of your data, and it is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security tools. So when you're thinking about this, and for your enterprise or you individually, you really want to be asking questions around, like it says here, privacy and security, inclusiveness, accountability, transparency, fairness, reliability, and safety. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but the key thing here is to start thinking about AI across your value chain and across the enterprise. Right now, a lot of us have engaged with ChatGPT, and maybe we're using it to write things, for an email, or we're working on a resume. Or when I started using it, I would use it to write funny limericks and things to be silly and send to family and friends just to learn how to use it. But it's time to start maturing and growing beyond that and thinking about it across your enterprise. So when you think about your manufacturing, customer service, HR, sales, marketing, AI is going to be everywhere. And so these are some categories. And again, these slides can be used and taken away, for you to review and learn more. But when we think about it across, customer service, yes, we think about chatbots. But it's also, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of sentiment analysis. Imagine you have a call center and information comes in, and instead of having to read through that, you're automatically knowing where you stand from a sentiment perspective. And then also predictive modeling and analytics. It's going to be next level with what we can do here, because like I said earlier, before you had The data scientist and the deep, technical expertise is still important. But now as a business user, as an end user, as an enterprise, you're able to engage in ways that have never been available before. All right, I loved this example and I wanted to share it with you today. The idea of extracting information from text and summarizing it. So this is an example, we've probably all been in some kind of fender bender. If we haven't had someone in our ecosystem, have to call and say, hey, I saw a car accident, something happened. So this model in insurance, where the courts are the calls are recorded for quality purposes, right? Well, this is it, right? So here we are, we're translating this now to go from here's the conversation to the OpenAI instruction. If you look in this second box here, it talks about what is the main reason of the conversation? What is the sentiment of the customer? How did the agent handle the conversation? What was the final outcome? And here's a short summary. So this is all automated. And if you look at this, it says the main reason, this is kind of the get to the point. And it's, there was a car accident. The person was shaken up, but they're okay. The agent showed empathy and, they started a claim and got a tow truck and, and the customer is okay. So this is applicable to so many different areas where you can have a lot of information come in and summarize and be able to have analysis like in new and creative ways. So here's another example. I loved this example too, because, I'm sure we have all given a customer review. So when a company gets a lot of feedback, what can we do with that? So here's somebody that had a customer review and what they liked about the bike and everything that was going well on that. And then, so again, this whole idea of sentiment analysis, not just, hey, let's summarize the data and review it. But I love the idea of, you get this feedback and then it can be aggregated. The feedback is positive. So candidly, it's like, okay, the feedback is positive. I feel good. And I read the rest of this. But then if I were to see the feedback is negative, it's like, oh, I may have a call to action. There's something I may need to do on this. All right. Just moving a little bit further along, I'm going to go ahead and build out this slide in the interest of time here. Whoops, let me go back. All right. So what is really cool about what you can do with Microsoft on OpenAI and also what's coming with Copilot is the idea of you have this foundational model. And then we can take your information in your organization. Again, is the opportunity at the data level and above where we can make your own differentiated models that are custom just to you. So, if you had a big automotive manufacturer, being able to combine all of that data with the models. And again, we're not training on your data, but you're able to use ours and have your own differentiated experience. So when you're engaging with the chatbots or you're engaging with, across your value chain, it's the power of your information and the power of what OpenAI has to offer. Quickly wanted to highlight some areas to really just get started, just do it. So these are some free resources. If you haven't already used it, what are you waiting for? And if you have, just again, this is for you to get hands-on. So just quickly, yes, a lot of us have seen ChatGPT and through that, and I do have that, and I have an account for GPT-4, even though I can access it through Bing. You can access Bing through the Edge browser. Now, I know a lot of us may have our favorite browser that we've been using. I use multiple browsers. So I also have a Mac for my personal computer. I have Safari, I have Chrome, I have Edge, and of course at work I have Edge, but a lot of capability there on Bing and the ability to also use for free Image Creator, which is how I'm creating images. And I encourage all of you to go have some fun and learn. Also, Microsoft, as part of their Copilot offerings, one of the first free offerings we have is Microsoft Designer, which is the ability to do posts and flyers and also different images in a different environment. So I encourage all of you to go take a look. So just to finish up here, prompt engineering, there's a lot of talk about that. And like I said, just do it. This I did generate with AI on giving me prompts and ideas so you can have the model train you. And so just get going and just go ask it for prompts around a topic and practice definitely using that. And then finally here, I really want to talk about, when you're looking at Copilot and what Microsoft is doing with Copilot, you can look up on Microsoft blogs. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, we'll talk about what, again, like I talked about earlier, here's what you can do when you take your language models and your data and the apps. It gives you your own differentiated global experience. And then finally, I'm just going to move along here. As I end here, next steps for leaders. Lead by example. Use what you've learned. Again, don't use the excuse, I'm an individual contributor, I'm waiting, I'm doing a little chat GPT, but what's going to happen? This is a great opportunity for you to emerge as a leader and an expert by digging in. Coaching your leadership team. If you are a leader like myself, pushing the team to move along or asking your leadership team, how you're going to get engaged. Industry research, finding use cases, partnering, how do you include this as a regular rhythm of business? Learning, again, from executives to individual contributors, no one is off the hook. You can't wait for someone else to tell you what to do. It's moving so fast. And then finally, my favorite word when it comes to business is hustle. Challenge yourself and your leadership team. And then as you'll see on the slides, there's a couple of kind of zero to hero and AI Business School. Again, a lot of focus on the tech. I like to intersect that with the business as well and thinking about not just bottom up building the tech, but how you're going to be solving problems. So I'm at time here. So Gerald, I'm showing just maybe a little over 20 minutes, but thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you, Carol. You covered a lot of great territory, and it was good to get an insider's perspective from Microsoft, as well as your personal opinions about AI.